Namaskar. We were talking about Anuvrat in the last lecture. There are in fact 12 vrats for a householder or a Shravak. 5 Anuvrat, 3 Gunavrat and 5 Shiksha Vrat. So today we shall talk about the other vrats, the Guna Vrat and the Shiksha Vrat. Guna Vrat in fact supplement the Anu Vrat. Anu Vrat are the main vrat and Guna Vrat support the Anu Vrat, so they have a supporting role. These help in training the mind by regulating work, food and enjoyment, So these things are regulated by Guna Vrats. There are 3 Guna Vrats. The first one is known as a Dig Vrat. In this Vrat, an individual fixes a limit on activities to be carried out in any particular direction, like east, west, south, north and so on. That means you fix a limit that in a particular direction you will go only this far or thus far and not beyond that, in any particular direction. And this limit can be fixed for a particular time period or for the entire life, depending upon the situation. The whole purpose of this is that you limit your travel. You don't go beyond a certain limit, and the purpose of limiting the travel is to limit the hinsa. You don't exceed a particular limit when you commit hinsa, because when you travel distances and we carry out activities in this particular range, you definitely commit hinsa. So in order to limit hinsa, you put a limit on travel and thereby you put a limit on your activities. Fixing such a limit helps in limiting hinsa, as I said. There is another. The second Guna Vrat is Anartha Danda Vrat. It is called Anartha Danda Vrat. One limits or abstains from committing any sinful activity by mind, speech and body in the limit fixed above. So you have fixed a limit that you will not go beyond this in travel, and during that limit, in that limit which you have fixed above, you limit your activities now, So in the limit also you carry out limited number of activities. This again is to control hinsa, which you commit in carrying out activities, There are 5 specific types of sinful activities which are recognized. One is Papa Upadesh. Giving such advice in the limit which you fixed, then we are discussing these activities. Giving such advice or carrying out such trade that would cause pain and suffering to living beings, or lead to violence, theft or falsehood. So in the limit which you have fixed, the limit of space which you have fixed, you restrain yourself in giving advice to others, or carrying out trade beyond what which you have limited. So you limit your trade also. You limit giving advice others to carry out the trade. And it means, you limit your trade because then you don't cause pain and suffering to other living beings. Because the more our activities, more is the indulgence in pain and suffering to other living beings and violence. So you limit these trade activities, that means your business activities, your occupational activities and so on, and you don't advise others also to carry out such things. Then Hinsa Dan is the second. You don't give things like arms or any tools or other things with which somebody can cause hinsa. So you refrain or restrain yourself in gifting such things as weapons or weapon-like things, to other people, because this could cause hinsa. Then the third is apadhyan. Apadhyan means, cherishing ideas of evil against others. So you don't think of things like death or misery or harm to persons and their families. You don't entertain such thoughts which could cause death or misery or harm to persons and their families, abusing of women, cover up some act and scandalous activity acts and so on. So that means you don't entertain thoughts which could cause these things which I just now told you, causing harm to families, abuse of women, or cover up something and or scandalous activities and so on. And then the fourth is dusruti. It means listening to expounding methods related to occupations which arouse false faith, avarice, anger, hatred, lust and doubt. So you don't listen to such things which cause some kind of false faith or some kind of anger or hatred or lust or doubt and so on. So things which are related to the occupations, but you don't listen to such matters, so that through your occupation you can do things like arouse false faith in others, anger, hatred and doubt and so on. So you don't become a medium, you don't make yourself as a medium to commit these kinds of things. Then pramodacharya, indulging in unnecessary activities like digging, wasting water, enkindling fire, cutting vegetation, causing obstruction to wind, etc. So you don't indulge in unnecessary activities. You don't unnecessarily dig earth, because that is hinsa. Don't unnecessarily waste water. Water is otherwise precious, and in Jainism it is a sin to waste water. Enkindling fire, you don't put things to a fire. Cutting vegetation is of course not good, as we know, and it's also an act of hinsa, and so on. So these activities are also prohibited in case of householders or Sravaks. Then the third gunavrat is bhoga upabhoga pariman, That means, you must restrict those things which you enjoy. Either, say, for example, things like food and drink and so on. These must be restricted. So you restrict your number of dishes, for example, number of recipes, which you eat. That means you must have a control on your taste, on your tongue, and control these things. So bhog means those things which you use only once, like food, drinks, and so on. Limit them. And then upabhog means, things which are used time and again, For example, your mobile, for example, or a computer, or things like this, which you use again and again, your garments, your shoes, and so on. So you put a limit on these things, You put a limit on your eating items, put on those limit on other items, which you use time and again. So you must have a limited number of dresses for you. You must have a limited number of shoes for you, and you must have a limited number of other luxury items which you can use. So that is very important. And yam, there are two things, niyam and yam. So either you put a time limit for which you will not use these items repeatedly, or you take a vote to not to use them for your lifetime, that is yam, absent from their use for the entire lifetime. The whole idea is that you limit your requirements, limit your use of things of eat, food, and other luxury items. Then there are Shiksha Vrat. These Shiksha Vrat support Guna Vrat, so it is a telescopic system in a way. Guna Vrat supports Anu Vrat, and Shiksha Vrat support both Guna Vrat and Anu Vrat. The Shiksha Vrats are 4. They broaden the mind, boost moral and spiritual excellence for advancement in right knowledge. So there are many advantages of observing Shiksha Vrat, So they will help you in your spiritual progress, in your mental health, in your right conduct, and so on. There are 4 Shiksha Vrats. One is Des Vikashik. It means, you put a limit on repeated visits to places, houses, villages, towns, etc. in the limit which you already fixed. Earlier, you fixed the limit, how much distance you will go, let's say in a day or in a month or whatever time limit you fix. Then within that limit also, now you put a limit on repeated visits to the places, You should not go to places very often in the limited zone itself, Again, the whole idea is that you limit hinsa, which you carry out or which you do or which you commit in your travel and in your activities, So you put a limit on your limited or repeated visits, And this limit can be for a certain duration of time, for a day or a week or a month, or for the entire life, depending upon your occupation, depending upon your requirements. Another Shiksha Vrat is Samayik. Samayik is very important for householders or for all the people for that matter, Samayik means, sitting at one quiet place and engaging yourself in meditation. And Samayik literally means, sitting with your own soul. So you now engage yourself so that you are with your soul and you forget other things, So soul means if you are with the soul, you are at peace. So try to be at peace during the Samayik. Samayik also means Samata. You treat all the situations equally. So you remain in equanimity of mind and concentrating on contemplation, contemplation on the nature of your own soul. So there is a particular procedure for doing samayik. I am not going to talk about that procedure. This is all Jains know about it. So you sit in a convenient posture at one place for 48 minutes and do meditation. You can read scriptures if you like, and you do the part or recitation of mantras which are prescribed for samayik. Then you can do jap, you can do meditation, you can do swadhyaya, you can do reading scriptures and so on for a period of 48 minutes. This is one samayik. So then you completely abstain from committing any kind of sin, any kind in mind, thought, speech and action. Your mind is directed towards your soul. Your mind is directed towards the contemplation which you are doing or meditation which you are doing. And there are no other thoughts, no other thinking. You don't speak, you keep mum for the period of samayik. Samayik is practiced preferably in morning and evening. These are the suitable times for doing samayik. But if you are willing, you can do samayik even in the day. But normally morning and evening are suitable time, because then you are able to concentrate in samayik what you are doing. Worshipping is also included in the samayik. If you are worshipping Arhat or Arahant even at home or even in a temple, that is also considered a kind of samayik. And your study of scriptures, as I already said, bhakti, recitation of stotra, recitation of bhakti geet, can be considered as a kind of samayik. So samayik is an essential part for any household, and it gives you a lot of peace of mind, and it prepares your mind for good activities, or even occupation, or your occupational or your professional work. If you are doing samayik daily, probably you will be a better professional worker. You will be able to do your things, occupational things, in a better manner, because it prepares your mind. It gives you peace of mind. The object of this vow is to attain equanimity, to samatha, and meditation and nature of the self. You are with your soul for a certain duration of time, and it helps you in detachment from worldly affairs. This is the whole objective of these practices. That you detach yourself slowly from worldly affairs and engage yourself in spiritual pursuits. So the samayik will enable you to do this, will help you in achieving this kind of objective. Then Poso Upvas means, you practice fasting and other kind of austerities. Fasting is good for health. It's not only a religious act, but it's also good for your physical health, for your mental health. And many people, even medical practitioners, advise that you must have a fast every week. In Jainism, the fast is observed on every Ashtami and Chaturdasi. That means, almost every week you must have a fast. And the fast can be of various types. The one fast, is that you don't take food, you don't take any drink throughout the day, and also night before that day. Okay, so for 36 hours you abstain taking anything, any food or any drink. This is the best kind of upvas or fast, But if you are not able to do that, you can drink water, for example, but don't take any food. So you can drink water in day, not in the night, and that helps you to keep yourself fit, And if you are not able to do this also, then you can take one meal in a day, but that is not recommended. It is recommended that you don't take food, you can take water. And when we are fasting, in fact, you must abstain from your occupational work, from your professional work. You should devote time with your soul. That is the whole purpose. So when you are fasting, please do not carry out your regular duties, abstain from them. And you devote that time for study of scriptures, for doing samayik, for doing meditation, for doing contemplation, and such activities. So you must abstain from your trade, your domestic work, enjoyment of any kind, no film, no movie, no TV, no mobile. If you are doing these things, then there is no purpose of doing samayik, So no mobile, no movie, no TV, no computer. You must abstain from all these things, during the period of samayik. Time is devoted only to meditation, reading scriptures, and worship, and so on. Fasting could be, as I told you, without food and water, with water, or no food, and in special cases, if it becomes essential because of your health or because of your medical other conditions, you take one meal in a day. Then the fourth vrat is Vaya Vrat or Atithi Samvibhag Vrat. In this vrat tells you that you must offer alms, you must offer food, drinks to sadhus and saints, if they are coming to your house. You serve them in this manner or in other appropriate manner, because monks and sadhus are ultimately dependent on householders, so you must have respect for them, respectful feeling, and you must serve them in any suitable manner. Then you offer food to the hungry people, This is a tradition in India that, you offer food to people who are hungry. You offer drinks to the people who are thirsty, and give some donation or something in charity to poor, to needy, and so on. So the Shravaks and the practitioners in Jain tradition are enjoined that you must have a charity on daily basis, in fact, So your daily basis, you must be able to give something in charity to the needy people and help them in the manner you think fit, or their need. So I had described to you vratas. So a Shravak and householder is supposed to have 12 vratas, 5 anu vratas, 3 guna vrata, and 4 shiksha vrat. They are supposed to be essential conduct for a householder, and you must observe these vrats, That will help you to improve your life, improve your lifestyle, and will help you to proceed on a spiritual path. These things are very necessary for the observance of Shravak Dharma. I stop here for the time being. In the next lecture, then we'll talk about the essential conduct of Shravak. This, of course, it is good to observe these 12 vratas, but besides that you must make sure that there is something minimum which you follow in the conduct. So in a modern lifestyle, what does these vratas mean, and how do we have a code of conduct for a householder or for an ordinary person who wants to observe Jain tradition? So I'll discuss this in the next lecture. Thank you.